So I was interviewing Bobby Bowden one time at his house. This was probably like 2014,
Okay.
and and I get there and we are we go into like the parlor area of his house in Tallahassee, and we sit down and we're in this like little like sofa slash settee,
Okay.
and it's about as big as these two seats, and we're sitting
Right
right,
beside each other.
right
Yeah.
beside each other.
Yeah.
So, when we were talking about me sitting in chair number 6 here, it jogged my memory that
How close you were to
how
Bobby when you
close I
interviewed
was
him?
to Bobby in that interview. But well, we're in early August, and bring us up to speed on what's going on with the Alabama Sports Hall of Fame.
Yeah, well, the summer months for us are an opportunity to really kind of reflect internally, internally as the museum, the actual facility and what needs upkeeping, what needs some repairs, where we can put some investment in, what needs a little love. This building dates back to 1992, so it's an opportunity to, change some things and update some things. So gives us the time to do that, but it also gives us the time to look at the procedures and how we're doing things and how we're, our processes are coming, how we're selecting inductees, that whole thing. It gives us an opportunity to kind of review all of that before we really begin the process, which really begins in August.
Yeah, take us a little bit through the selection process. I know that there's, going to be some meetings and some discussions coming up in the next few weeks, and how does that eventually lead to where you've made the selections for next year's class?
Well, so one thing about the Hall of Fame is once you're nominated, you're always nominated. So in this process, I'm merely a caretaker. This was set up well before I got here, and we've tweaked it some, but for the most part, it's not been changed in quite some time. It used to be that all the nominees were on. They were all on one page, and you picked some selection committee in previous years picked the people. Years ago, before I arrived, they broke it into two different categories. Modern and at the time it was called old timers. We've since changed that. One of my changes is,
What's it called now?
It's called seniors.
Seniors, okay.
So, and that actually coincided when our chairman was starting to be an old timer. He said, "Let's change this to seniors." I'm teasing, but so the first part is being nominated, and somebody has to be nominated to be eligible for consideration for the ballot, and that nomination process can be any time throughout the year, but in order for someone to be on like the 2026 ballot, they have to be nominated before June 1st.
How many total nominations do you all have in your archive?
400 plus.
Okay.
And quite frankly, a good number of those, probably the majority of those, will never see the ballot. Because the bar to nominate someone is not as high as the bar to be on the ballot. A good friend of mine recently had an article in a publication that he does that talked about the problem we have coming up.
We'll talk about that in a minute. Yeah.
No, but so being nominated, and it's an honor to be nominated, right? From the time you're nominated, we place your name in the nominee list. We put a file on record for you, and you're placed in our annual book we do each year at our banquet. So your name's in there as a nominee. So that's an honor in itself. Making the ballot, of course, is a different honor, and that process to make the ballot is, we look at all the nominees, we go over them every year. We have a list that continues to grow and be added to. And what we do for the next process is we will call what's called a ballot committee meeting. And the ballot committee is comprised of a board of directors from the Sports Hall of Fame and myself who attend the meeting. And so all board members may not be there, but those that can attend that ballot committee meeting are the ballot committee. So that's who becomes a committee based upon attendance. And what we will do at that meeting is, and it takes place in August prior to our board meeting, we will put together the modern and the seniors ballot. And then we'll take those ballots from the ballot committee meeting, and we'll take them to the full board meeting for board approval. And it's our quarterly board meeting that we do in August, and the full board has the opportunity to change the ballot, to add someone, to take someone off, to make any changes at that board meeting. And it's happened from time to time that somebody couldn't make the ballot committee, or there's some additional reasoning that they brought up, or whatever, that somebody is added or somebody's removed from the ballot. But it's usually an added type situation. So from that meeting, the ballot is set, and the process there is we meet with our selection committee members that are across the state. The board does not have a vote on who gets inducted. I don't have a vote on who gets inducted. We have 81 members across the state based on congressional district that are appointed by the board. So the board member that represents that congressional district gets to appoint members to the modern committee and members of the senior committee. And the senior committee only votes on the senior ballot, and the modern committee only votes on the modern ballot. So we're getting a little deep in the water here, but I think it's a good process. And again, this was put in place well before my arrival. So that's who votes on who gets selected. But I was talking about the timing and the time frame. So September, we will meet with the selection committee members, those who can attend a meeting, and we'll share the ballot with them. We'll let them kind of communicate with each other, see if they have any questions, any new thing that may have transpired, which not a whole lot through that. And then we will, in the month of October, we have a 2-vote process. And what I mean by that, let's say on the modern ballot, you may have 20 people in the football category. You'll have maybe 14 to 16 in the baseball, basketball category, and then we'll have a third category that'll have all other sports. May have 8 in that category. So the first ballot that we send out to the selection committee members is just to cut that ballot in half. So if there's 20 on the football, for example, we ask them to vote for 10. Give me your top 10. You don't have to rank them. And then the same on the other 2 categories. And by the way, the senior category is just one category altogether. Mm-hmm. So, and that's above 70 to be on the senior committee or senior ballot.
Old timers ballot, right?
Old timers ballot, the old timer senior ballot. And once they vote, by the way, I think this is important to understand. The votes, they send their ballot in. The ballots go directly to PricewaterhouseCoopers. We have an accounting firm. It's been done, again, before I got here, it was a different accounting firm. But since I've been here, we used PwC to tabulate our ballot and to tabulate the results. And I don't want to be counting ballots. I don't want my staff counting ballots. I want a professional accounting firm tabulating the results. And so they will then, and they'll that's the same for the senior, same process for the senior. So they'll then tell me who the top vote getters are. They'll send me the results of the voting, and then we'll send out the second ballot. And the second ballot is when the selection committee members have to prioritize who's their number 1 pick, who's their number 2 pick, 3, all the way down. And you have to, you don't just pick the top 3, you label all the way to the end. So I tell selection committee members, I said, look, who you pick 8th, 9th, and 10th is just as important as who you pick 1, 2, and 3. So you can't sleep and say, well, these bottom ones don't matter, because that's may determine which of those latter guys gets inducted, because the vote sometime is extremely close on the top of the categories. So that, make sure, we tell, as you well know, we tell selection committee members to, hey, make sure you're ranking these all the way to the end, because that may make the difference on who gets in.
Talk a little bit about recommendation letters. That can factor in a little bit. If I'm an everyday person, I've got a buddy or somebody that I know that has been nominated or going to be on the ballot, I can send in a recommendation letter to kind of encourage a selection committee member to consider that person. How much does that weigh into the process?
Well, I mean, it depends. First, I want to say to nominate someone you have to be a resident of the state of Alabama. A lot of times we'll get nominations from out of the state, and we'll say, hey, I'm sorry, in order to be nominated, you have to be a resident. In order to nominate someone, you have to be a resident. If you are interested in this person being nominated, please find somebody that could nominate him from Alabama. So you got to be a resident state. What you're referring to is recommendation letters that they send to the selection committee. Now, one thing we do not do, we do not share email addresses for the selection committee, nor do we share their phone numbers.
Yeah.
But we're required, because we're a quasi-state agency, we're required to share mailing addresses for that purpose, in case somebody wants to send recommendation letters. So it's just like, all of our selection committee members prioritize things differently. So somebody that gets a letter from Coach Saban, they may listen to that more than if they got a letter from Scott Myers or somebody. So it depends on who the letter's from. We tell our selection committee members, hey, look, our bios we're going to put out. We're going to fact check those as best we can. You may get mail that has other things in it. You can look at that how you want to, but just because it says something, you need to fact check it and make sure that it's true.
But it could make a difference. I mean,
Sure
it could absolutely make a difference. And if you are considering somebody and you've gotten 3 or 4 letters, that are a glowing recommendation for somebody, that could be a factor in the selection committee members putting them on, at the top of the list.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. I've seen it happen numerous times in my 16 years. And I've also seen the same thing. I've seen good campaigns, if you will, run for candidates and they've done it excellently, and they don't get in.
Yeah.
So it happens both ways. But, and again, it depends on who the selection committee members are, which we have about a third turnover every year, and then who's sending the letter. I mean, again, all of our selection committee members are human, so they're going to be swayed by, if somebody from Auburn sends a letter to the Auburn selection committee members, or somebody from Alabama, and the reverse of that. I mean, we use Coach Saban as an example. If he sends, selection committee members, he'll send it to everybody. And some of them are Alabama, some of them are Auburn, some of them are Samford, some of them are UNA, some of them, have no college affiliation. They may have went to Washington and Lee.
Yeah.
So, but they're human, so they're affected by additional information. Sure.
One of the most interesting things about the process is trying to make a little bit of a determination between somebody who was born in the state of Alabama, because it's open to people that are not born in the state of Alabama. So obviously, you want to give some weight to people that have been born in the state of Alabama, but also you'll consider, and there have been people that have been inducted like Jorge Posada that were not born in the state of Alabama, but either played at an Alabama school or had some kind of significant tie to the state of Alabama. So is there like a cutoff there, or is there's some sort of way y'all weigh that maybe if they were here for 3 months and don't have significant ties, that might not be somebody that we want to consider. So how do you kind of balance that?
Well, through the years, that's evolved a little bit. The birthright thing is kind of the natural. If they were born here, they're automatically eligible. And there's examples like, maybe Mia Hamm would be a good example there. She was born here, born in Selma, lived here since she's 18 months old, or that's the amount of time that I get. But and then she moved away, and she never really competed here, but her birthright. Most people don't know that she was born in Alabama, since she played college soccer at North Carolina. And of course, her career is perhaps the greatest female soccer player in the United States. But that's one example. And another example is like Joe Namath. I mean, everybody connects Joe Namath with Alabama. Maybe more so than it's Alabama and New York. Well, he was born in Pennsylvania. Mm-hmm. And but most people aren't thinking Pennsylvania when they think of Joe Namath, because he competed here and was tied here for so long. So the verbiage that is part of the Hall of Fame is that they bringing recognition to themselves and the state of Alabama through their sports accomplishments. So our board has the opportunity to weigh what that looks like, and that could be a little amount of time, or that could be a long amount of time. But the birthright is the one that, and the one that is kind of an automatic. Jorge Posada was one that our board changed its opinion on. Initially, it was thought, well, let's give it some time, and then Jorge came out with a book, basically a autobiography about his life, and in it he says that he would not have been a Yankee had it not have been for Alabama, and he had a couple of chapters in there in his book about Alabama, and so our board looked as, okay, he's claiming us some great recognition for the state of Alabama. We'll claim him too. And it was at that time when he was placed on, he'd already been nominated years earlier, but he was placed on the ballot, and big surprise, he was selected first time on the ballot.
3 names that come up just kind of off the bat are Tyreek Hill, played at West Alabama, Josh Donaldson, played at Auburn, Juan Pierre, from Mobile.
Yeah, well, I mean, and Cam Newton.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cam Newton, was not born here. Yeah. Technically, he was in college here for 11 months, maybe. But did he bring fame to the state of Alabama through his athletic accomplishments? Yeah, I think you can make an argument that a Heisman Trophy and a national championship team would, had brought fame to the state.
Yeah. Now, tell me a little bit about your role. I mean, I would consider you a steward of this place. I mean, is that fair? I mean, you're I mean, and you've got a lot of roles here. I mean, like there's a lot of moving parts. There's a lot of things that go on. I mean, from getting the plaques ready and getting the memorabilia ready, and and then obviously the work that you do with the Bryant Jordan Award, and then the induction ceremony. There's just a lot going on. So I'd like to know a little bit more about kind of your day-to-day and then your overall duties here.
Well, I do wear a lot of hats, and fortunately we've got a great staff that also does a lot of different things. Nobody just has one little segment of what they get to do or what they have to do. Everybody has a number of different things. The most difficult thing that I do that I'm the least prepared for is the curator. I'm not, I had not worked in a museum. I had not worked in, sports history. I'd been in sports a long time, making different levels of sports history, if you will, but I had not, categorized it, and so that's been something I've had to grow with. And fortunately, we have companies that we work with that do a really good job of that end, and we're able to kind of just manage that. But yeah, the hat I wear is different, from event management to fundraising to curating, and then of course the process, managing the process of who gets in, how that develops is extremely important. And then of course just relationships, relationships with our previous inductees. Some of the inductees that I'm closest to now are some that were inducted prior to my arrival, and then and some I'm close to that have come on since my arrival. So managing those relationships, the additional awards that we do outside of the inductees are important also. So yeah, but it's a lot of fun, and our calendar is basically the same every year. It kind of just turns over, and I've having worked in team sports that has that kind of calendar where you have the off season during the season, and then postseason, hopefully, and then just kind of start over. It gives you a certain rhythm that you get to be accustomed to, and so I've enjoyed keeping that rhythm as we move forward in this job.
Well, let's talk curating for just a minute. I mean, if you walk into this place, I mean, it is absolutely pristine. And you've got a lot of display cases, and then you've got plaques and things like that. So let's take Mark Ingram as an example, who was inducted in 2025. how do you start to kind of gather all that stuff, to have memorabilia to display in the cases and then in the plaque as well?
So I'll handle the plaque question first because
Yeah.
that's the easier. We basically, it's, hey, give me a headshot or we'll find one. Some inductees will give us 3 different headshots, or some people who were selected for induction will get us a good, and then sometimes we got to go out and find them. Just the reality. Some people have a lot of photos and some don't. The memorabilia, 90% of what's on display here belongs to our inductees. So our inductees are loaning items, and we tell them that in the information we send them. Hey, we want to categorize your career in memorabilia. So you send us what you want to put on display for your recognition, and it always remains your property and your family's property.
So they can take it back
So
anytime?
they can take it
Okay.
back anytime. In fact, I just, on Monday of this week, I just FedExed a couple items to an inductee that her mother wanted a ring back, and she wanted a piece that was in her office that she's kind of missing, and so we took them out of the case, sent them back to her, and and this was what was placed on permanent display. We ask them not to ask us to remove anything while they're on the individual display the first year, but after that time, should they want something back, we'll send it back to them.
Well, just to let you know, I'm gathering my stuff from Jasper and Walker High School to have it ready when
That's great.
when I get inducted, and of course I've taken a lot of selfies and
That's fantastic.
getting my headshot ready for my plaque.
Yeah,
So
well, I'm glad to hear that. It'll probably be some time, so I wouldn't
Right.
waste a lot of time taking pictures now. I would
Right.
well, unless you
maybe
want to,
posthumous.
posthumous, yeah. So.
Exactly. When this podcast takes off,
Takes off.
yeah, well, it'll
Yeah,
be
it'll probably be this one that gets you famous right here.
right.
Just saying.
Well, I'll be on the old timers ballot,
Yeah.
of course.
Yes.
So.
Yeah. He's a seniors ballot.
Right. So I do want to talk to you about this sort of impending problem. You and I have discussed this before, but there's a problem. It's a good problem, but it is a problem because when you think about the Saban era and just the wealth of riches from a player standpoint, and really a coach's standpoint too, from 07 to 2024. I mean, you're going to have an influx of new nominees. I mean, when you talk about NFL talent,
Right.
how is the Sports Hall of Fame going to navigate that?
Well, again, I've been here 16 years, so we've known for a while that this problem, as we've kidded around about, is on its way. But it's really it's a bigger problem than just the Coach Saban problem in the University of Alabama. Historically, or at least in recent history, 15 years prior to my arrival through my 16 years I've been here, we've inducted 8 members each year. And there's always, 20 or more than 20. There's, we've got so many nominees that will be great inductees. It's a very difficult thing to get in. So, but it's not, again, as I mentioned, it's not just the Alabama issue. Women's sports have blown up. So you've got, whereas before, 40 years ago, they weren't worried about, of course, times have changed as well. But they weren't worried about, because women didn't have a lot of sports and they weren't playing a lot of sports. They were starting to grow and grow.
The
and grow.
interest has exploded.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's and the opportunities.
Yeah.
They didn't have opportunities.
That's
Now they got opportunities, and there's we've had female inductees that have just continued to grow, and our numbers continue to grow there. And then the coaches, a lot of coaching opportunities. So our board, we're continually looking at, is there adjustment that we may have to look at in the future? And there's some that say, well, maybe we could have a different category. Maybe we can have, add a, modify some things. And then there's others that are like, hey, it's a Hall of Fame. It should be difficult to get in. Even if you're a, really, really good player or have a All-American career, and there's some people that have great careers and are excellent nominees, but that aren't at the top layer of those excellent nominees. And that's subjective also to the, who's on the selection committee. You talked earlier as we were talking about the birthright nominee or somebody that moved in and brought recognition that way. Each selection committee member looks at that a little differently. Some people, if you're born in the state, they rank that a lot higher than you had this amazing career at University of North Alabama or South Alabama or Auburn, Alabama, Jacksonville State. They look at that higher. Others look at, what happened, what did you do at the professional level? I don't care where you went to school. What did you do at the professional level after?
I think that's a big deal. I mean, like if you played like 14 years at the professional level,
yeah,
that's a big deal.
Yeah.
The other thing that's interesting to me is you mentioned it just a second ago, is kind of striking that balance because, I mean, let's face it, I mean, Alabama, Auburn, UAB, those are kind of your show horses in the state of Alabama. But you also don't want to be unfair to the UAHs, the Sanfords, the UNAs, the Troys, places like that. So you've got to include those schools too, so there becomes a balance there as well, like you mentioned.
Well, and again, our job really ultimately is to place the best people on the ballot and allow the selection committee to pick who comes in. Now, again, we look at their bios, we look at their career resume, and we try to do the best we can. But you're right. I mean, our board, looks at different things as they're looking at the ballot. Quite frankly, there's not enough Sanford Bulldogs in here. No, again, I love my school, but everybody, can't go to Sanford.
What a great transition it just was. I want to. I mean, you and I have known each other for a while, but I mean, like, I want to know more about your career.
Oh yeah,
before you became CEO of this place. So
okay, well that's
walk us
actually
through, your bio.
Okay, so again, I went to Sanford. I had the pleasure of playing football there. My freshman and sophomore year, I decided that I wasn't going to the NFL, so
It was Howard when you went there,
yes,
right?
it was Howard College.
Okay.
We had just finished beating Alabama the year before at Legion Field when I came on.
Did you play for Bobby Bowden?
No, in fact, Bobby was there in the 60s or 70s, and then Terry came my junior year.
Okay. All right.
But I played for Coach Kim Alsop, who just recently passed away not too long ago.
I knew him.
Really?
Yeah, he lived in Jasper.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah.
Everything ties back to either Jasper, Trustful, or Wetumpka.
Yeah.
I mean, just letting our audience know.
No doubt. 6 degrees of Walker County.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you want to make sure you're on that right degree.
Yeah,
of Walker County.
That's definitely true. No, he lived in Jasper, and I met him. He used to work out at the gym in Jasper.
Well, he was
very nice man.
Yeah. Well, he's a former Marine.
Yeah.
So we actually we did some drills that you don't really see in today's football. We took the hill, which was, we had a practice field here, and we had a hill beside. And at the end of practice, he would say, "Take the hill," and we'd all have to get up the hill as fast as we could, which apparently was
crawling or
get up as fast as you can.
Okay,
running.
either way.
Yeah.
Okay,
so,
yeah.
Fortunately, we didn't have to crawl. Well,
Yeah.
some people may have had
Yeah.
to crawl. And then we also
barbed wire into it.
we didn't have barbed wire, thank goodness. And the other part was there were times where we marched around when if we had a bad practice or something, we would end the practice after we took the hill as a march around the campus, which is another interesting thing. But he was a great coach and a really, really good man, as you were alluding to. So yeah.
And he just passed away.
Yeah,
Wow.
well, about a year ago now,
Okay.
I think. But so after that, I was in international sales for a couple of years before I took my first job in sports, which was with the Birmingham Fire, World League of American Football. I did marketing for that team. From there, after 2 years of the Fire and the closing of the team, I bounced over to the Birmingham Bulls hockey team and was the general manager there for 5 years. After hockey, I...
Hang on just a second. All right, now I got a question for you right there related to that.
Sure.
Do you remember, this would probably have been 1998, 9. Were you there around that time?
Yes, I
Okay.
was there.
There was a marketing event at halftime,
Okay.
and they were playing at the BJCC,
I don't remember that.
where
There's no halftime in hockey, just to let you know.
okay, well,
It's
there was an
between the first and
intermission.
second period
There you
and the
go.
second, third
Okay,
period.
well, I'm not a hockey person, so
Obviously.
yeah, well, so y'all had this little thing at intermission. Is it intermission? Is that
Yeah,
right? Okay,
that's right.
where you got somebody from the stands to come in and fight in two big sumo wrestler costumes.
Absolutely.
Okay, do you remember that?
Absolutely,
Okay,
I
I
do.
did that.
Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Wow,
It was
yeah.
kind of my debut in front of 15,000. So
That's
it was
great.
it was a big deal. So you were probably watching that while I was.
Well, I was.
I
if
lost
it was
the
an 80,
match, but
if it was a 98 or 99,
yeah,
then yes, I was there.
Yeah.
I definitely saw it. I thought the sumo outfits were fantastic. It was one of the most fun things we did
Yeah.
from a promotional standpoint, and
Yeah.
it was entertaining to the fans. They loved it. I'm a little surprised you lost. I hate to see the guy that got in the other sumo
it was slippery out there.
because
so, yeah.
well, you slid
Yeah.
you actually slid down
did.
when they bumped you. Okay,
Yeah.
well, that was a great promo though.
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun. But,
Promo was the word I was looking for. Yeah.
yeah. And I don't remember who sponsored that, but that was fun.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, so I was there for 5 years, and then the ownership changed. I decided that I didn't want to stay with the new ownership, and I was single through that whole process. So I took a sabbatical, went to Costa Rica for a year, and I came back, and a partner and I had put together an opportunity to purchase and take over the Birmingham Steel Dogs. So name was Buddy King. We had met at the Birmingham Fire. He was a Birmingham Fire offensive tackle, played at Southern Miss, and then again I had been in sports management and marketing, so I was doing the front office stuff, and we had that for 6 years, and realized that the NFL, it's a little bit of a long story, but the NFL decided they weren't going to take over arena football, and that's when that league kind of folded and dissipated. And that timing is everything, right? And it was at that time when the board chairman of the Hall of Fame came to me and said, "Hey, our executive director is retiring at the ripe age of 82. Would you be interested in this opportunity?" And quite frankly, when I was first asked, I was like, I don't really know a whole lot about museums, and I'm not, but I looked at it, and it was really a great opportunity. And again, here we are 16 years later.
Yeah. One of my favorite things about our friendship and discussions is, we're coffee guys.
Yeah.
We like O'Henry's. When I was living in Birmingham,
Yeah.
we'd frequently see each other.
At least once a week.
Are you still going to O'Henry's?
Oh yeah. I was of course there this morning. I'm probably there. If I'm in town, I usually, even if I have a breakfast, if I have a breakfast meeting, which I love breakfast meetings over lunch meetings.
Yeah, I prefer that too.
So, especially at my age and trying to keep the weight down a little bit, I try to do a protein shake at lunch and stay away from the breads, and all of that. But yeah, if I'll get my breakfast at Sam's Super Sandwiches, and then I'll go by O'Henry's to get my coffee, and their coffee there is excellent.
What do you get at Sam's?
4 eggs, slice of cheese. Every day I get that, and then some days I'll get a slice of bacon, or some days I may just get a piece of sausage, burnt sausage. I like it cooked.
They've still got the muffins down there at O'Henry's, do they not?
They do.
They're unbelievable.
They're really good.
Now, when I was living in Birmingham, and this was back when I was single, and I would be down there at 6 a.m., and I would get a muffin, and I'd get a cup of coffee, and it was like $5.
Yeah.
But I went recently, and it looks like inflation's hit.
Yeah,
has hit.
Has hit everywhere.
Yeah.
So the funny thing about O'Henry's is, in 1992 is when it opened, and in 1992 I was doing marketing for the Birmingham Fire. So I went by there, and there were the owner was a gentleman named Henry Bright, but in 1992 they were just opening it. So I went a little bit in '92, but now since I live in Homewood, I get to go by there every day. And the coffee's excellent. It's a great place, good people,
Great atmosphere.
great atmosphere,
Yeah. Yeah.
and good. And most important, drink good. Drink good coffee.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't drink stuff that's water. That tastes like water.
Yeah.
It needs to be.
There's some good mass. Royal Cup. obviously is really good coffee, and but they're mass producing it.
Yeah, sure.
But O. Henry's is really good.
Yeah. The other thing that I always enjoy talking to you about is, you're kind of a clothes horse.
I can assure you, not a lot of people think that.
Yeah.
And particularly my wife would be like, "Does Al really know Scott?" I just have to feel like I got to dress up, because you're always looking sharp. So I've got to make sure.
Oh, you got to. So you're doing it to keep up with me.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I'm just trying to,
Well, I'm your official photographer.
Well, that's true.
That's
So when you see me always at my best.
Right. Well, that was kind of the thing that I feel like really sparked our friendship was that when we did the headshot in the lobby in here, the atrium in here, in probably 2015. And
and I still am using that photo on most things I send out.
yeah, I know. I really wish I could find the high resolution version of that. I've been looking for it for about 10 years. But
That's great.
that's your LinkedIn profile.
Is it still on
Yeah,
LinkedIn?
it is.
Okay, well, there you go.
Is it time to do a headshot refresh?
I'm sure. I did do a recent headshot since then, but just headshot. But it's still now probably 4 years ago, maybe 5 years ago now. So
yeah.
But I look, I still look the same. I'm ageless, right?
Oh, well, absolutely. Now, the other thing is your sport coat. You got a strong sport coat game, and then you got to tell us about the shoes. I know we can't see them right here, but we're going to cut to them when we do our editing. But tell us about is it OP or is it OPP? What is it? Tell us about the shoes.
I'm thinking that it's OPE, but if you're from Alabama, you would pronounce it OP because it's spelled OPP. They're from France. A good friend of mine. They were a gift from a friend of mine who I coached baseball with, and so that's how I got them. It's funny, they were in my closet for probably a year before I ever broke them out and decided I was going to wear them. And every time that I have these shoes on, 100% of the time, somebody comments on how much they like them. I mean, literally, I'll have somebody say something. Which the last time I saw you outside of before this interview and outside of I had these shoes on.
Yeah. And I said something.
And you commented about
love
them. So,
love them.
So
now, and I've got a pair of Magnanis on, which I got at Mobley and Sons in Crestline Village. I used to work there, and my wife got them for me, and then tore my Achilles, and I said, "Sweetheart, I can't wear those shoes right now." And then we actually took them back, and then I got done with all my physical therapy, and I was thinking to myself, "Gosh, those shoes would actually be perfect." And so then my mother-in-law bought them back for Christmas. And so I have worn these Magnanis out, and
they look really good too.
Yeah.
So those are nice.
But I always enjoy talking to you about the latest trends in fashion and sports as well. I mean that's something that we've definitely got in common, and I always enjoy a good conversation about sports with you also.
Yeah.
And Jasper, and your love of Jasper.
Great little downtown. Really enjoy it, and of course, travel as well too. I mean, I really enjoy travel, and I know you do as well. So, yeah.
But you're a world traveler, though. Let's say I'm almost exclusively within the United States. My wife gets on to me about she wants to go to these exotic locations in Europe, and I'm more where I want to kind of stay around the United States. So tell me, I mean, since you're a world traveler, put my mind at ease that it might be okay that I go to Switzerland or something like that.
Oh, well, I think that, well, again, we're from Alabama, right? And so we have some of the best beaches in the world in Alabama, or in the panhandle of Florida, which are beautiful. So that it's not like you have to go overseas to see amazing things. We've got amazing things in the United States, so we're really blessed there. But there is something that I feel really special about when you do travel outside of your comfort zone and you're seeing things that are different from what you see on an everyday basis here. And that love came really from a high school trip when I was 18. My friend's grandmother sent 5 of us to Europe for a European vacation right out of graduation from high school. And we went to I don't know 10 countries then over in Europe on a 5-week tour. which was an extremely nice graduation gift. But that sparked my love of travel and going overseas. And I went back and I ended up working for his grandmother, my first job out of college, for a couple of years in international sales. So that's kind of what sparked my love of travel. But I've been recently to a few places that are really amazing that aren't on the normal international travelers' radar. Iceland is one of those, and of course Iceland is very popular now, but it wasn't 5 years ago really. But now it's kind of bloomed, and it's really popular. And then with the downfall of the Berlin Wall, it kind of opened up some of the previous Soviet Union countries, and Latvia, Estonia, and Lithuania are three amazing countries that are now kind of fun to go see. So,
What's your favorite place you've ever been?
wow, I'm assuming you mean outside the United States.
Outside the United States, yeah.
Well, this is a very tricky question because, I lived in Costa Rica for a year, and I love Costa Rica, but I serve as the honorary consul of Guatemala to Alabama. So I love those two countries obviously a lot. So I'll take those two off the radar. They'll be like, the United States.
Yeah.
So it's really tough. It's like which of your kids is your favorite? Recently, in Spain. Again, I'm thinking Iceland. I'm thinking Estonia. Tallinn, Estonia is amazing. Riga, Latvia is amazing. Yeah, that's too tough.
And have you ever done have you ever gone to YouTube and done a 4K walkthrough of some of these cities? See, that's I can kind of say that I've been there because you can literally go to YouTube and type in 4K walkthrough London.
Really?
And you can walk. There's somebody that has walked through it. I guess it's might be with an iPhone or a GoPro or something like that, and they walk through, and you can walk from the Tower of London all the way through. It's like a 4-hour video.
Wow.
But you can basically type in any major city and do that. And so I've done several of those. So I have traveled, but one of the interesting places you mentioned former Soviet republics, but I did a 4K walkthrough through St. Petersburg.
Oh yeah.
And you talking about pristine. I mean, it is unbelievable. Now I had read a book by Robert K. Massey, Nicholas and Alexandra, and I'd become fascinated with the imperialist Russia.
Right.
And so that kind of piqued my interest in taking that 4K walkthrough through St. Petersburg. But
well, St. Petersburg is amazing.
yeah, you've been there.
Yeah, I've been there, and I've walked.
Well, I've
through
been there
that.
virtually, so
Yeah,
I mean, we
it's
kind of the same.
Kind of the same thing. In
Right.
fact, that was in St. Petersburg. I walked through St. Petersburg, and I'm again, my memory is sliding. One of the main attractions there is an old.
Like the Imperial Palace.
Yeah, and it's not like the palace. It's really nice. But
Yeah.
as I was leaving my hotel, and again, I'm a U.S. citizen, and I'm walking in Russia, and I went by, had a lunch, and then I was walking this route, and I felt like somebody was kind of following me, and so I popped into a little store.
Ivan Drago, was it?
Well, no, but anyway,
Sorry,
it just really. But anyway, it's funny how your mind will play little tricks on that.
Yeah.
And then, but I go in the store and I pop out and I go to I'm walking down to the next location on the way to one destination, and there they were. It was two people, and there they were again. It was a lady and another guy and a guy. So it was just kind of. So that's one of my memories of St. Petersburg. But
Was it KGB or
well, who
were
knows?
you-
I don't have any idea.
Yeah. What have you got going on, Scott?
Well, that was well, it was a trip that we were going to Sochi for the World Games that the Hall of Fame was instrumental in bringing to Birmingham and Alabama. So I'd gone over to Sochi for meetings that we had to attend. So I said, well, look, while I'm here, I'm going to hit Moscow and then I'm going to go up and hit St. Petersburg. So, because might as well see it while I'm in.
You think they might have just been curious as to what kind of sport coat you had on or something?
Could be.
To know where you got it?
Could be.
Yeah.
When
Cool.
I usually travel with the sport players.
All right, now tell us how people can get connected to the Alabama Sports Hall of Fame. Obviously, you got to raise money. I mean, you got to, how can somebody donate, get connected? There's also a golf tournament that is coming up. Y'all still doing that?
We are actually.
Yeah.
It's 2 weeks from 2 days ago, Monday. It's the 18th. It's a great time, and that's a fun time. I mean, we do that golf tournament. It's a small fundraiser, so we get some funds out of it. But it's really a time for the community to kind of meet some of our inductees, because we place an inductee with a foursome.
Yeah.
And they build relationships, and there's some camaraderie. The night before, we have a dinner that's just for our board inductees and special guests. So it's a time for them to be together and kind of have some fellowship. But one of the things people don't realize is, and we sell tickets to our all of our events. So if somebody wants to golf, they can golf with us. If somebody wants to come to the banquet, whether it's Mark Ingram or whoever's being inducted, we sell tickets, and those are available. Tables are available. So that's a way people that they want to see. And of course, admission. This is a museum. If they want to come anytime, they're welcome. We're open Monday through Friday. Some Saturdays we're open, and then of course events. A lot of people, we rent out our space for people to rent for receptions, business receptions. Sometimes we'll have wedding rehearsal dinners, those type things. So yeah, there's all kind of opportunities to connect with us.
As I was coming in again this morning, I was thinking, I need to bring my family down here and let them do a tour. I mean, I've got a 6-year-old and a 4-year-old that would love to see some of this. It's just an incredible place, man. And I again echo that if it's not the best sports Hall of Fame in the country, it's one of the best.
Right.
And y'all do an incredible job, and I think you do a great job at this.
Wow.
And just really proud to say that you're my friend, man. So
likewise, and I'll tell you, some of my favorite memories are my kids at 6 and 4, as you mentioned yours, playing hide and seek in the museum both when we were open and when we were closed. But yeah, we're really fortunate. And again, this was in place far before my arrival. I'm merely a caretaker.
Steward.
The men and steward, as you mentioned, the men and women that were involved in making this. It dates back to 1965 when the legislation came in place, and 67 when the first class came in place, and all the people through all of those years. Jabbo Wagner, who was helped with the legislation in his first years as a state representative, now is one of our senior senators for our state, who's serves on our board. So you've just got a lot of people that put a lot of time, a lot of effort, and resources in order to bring the recognition deserved to our inductees. And when you do talk about Sports Hall of Fames, it basically comes down to, or Sports Halls of Fame, comes down to, number one, your space. I mean, we've got 33,000 square feet, over 6,500 items of memorabilia all over, and a lot of other unique things. But second, and as you know, most importantly, is our inductees. And I don't believe that any other sports museum has the caliber of inductees, top to bottom, in any capacity than this museum. I mean, even the Baseball Hall of Fame, guess what? They don't have Joe Namath and Bart Starr and Bo Jackson and Charles Barkley. And the same thing on the Football Hall of Fame. They don't have Hank Aaron and Willie Mays, and and you can go on. And when you start looking at it that way, it's really remarkable the number of sports greats that have that tie to our state. And it's something for Alabamians to be proud of.
It's something for us to be proud of.
Right.
We've got an incredible sports tradition. So, man, I really do appreciate it.
No.
And like I said, you do a great job. Appreciate your friendship.
Thankful for you. Thankful for your friendship and all you do. Again, all the exposure that you bring and that you're continually working on, whether it be the magazine that we discussed, that Talegate, that's excellent, beautiful publication, to this podcast and the different things and the things you're shining light on. Thank you for that.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much. All right, my man.
Appreciate you.